Hi there, Loy Machedo. Swinging to you from loymachedo.com. Who is Loy Machedo and Think Personal Branding? Now, I got this question from one of my potential clients, my clients, who apparently when he went for the interview, everything was going fine until, the technical questions, he answered them pretty well. But when it came to questions about himself, he was not very fluent. He was not very comfortable. He, being an introvert, he wasn't the bombastic kind of a guy who could advertise himself. So finally, when the interviewer found that he found it very hard to communicate about himself, like praise himself, he finally asked him the question, tell me, why should I give you this job? Why do you consider yourself better than the other candidates? There he was pretty tongue-tied because, as he told me, he felt that he was most qualified in the paper. He felt he had more experience and he felt he could add value to the company. However, these words didn't actually come out. And he just sheepishly told him that I'm very hardworking. I think I can give results and you can check my CV and my technical knowledge. So eventually what happened is the interviewer said, okay, fine, whatever you say, that's it, all right. And anything else, he said nothing else, and that was it. So he felt his final interview, the last question, he didn't actually nail it. So then he asked me as to, what do you think I should have said, or what do you think I should have responded? See, now what you need to understand is when an interviewer is asking you this question, it's a cliche question, but they normally ask you this question because what happens is the interviewer is making a decision whereby his neck is going to be online. His neck is going to be online because he has made the decision to select you. So if he selects you, then he has to explain to the management why did he select you, because the whole process is going to cost the company time, money, and a lot of effort to groom the candidate. And if eventually the candidate proves to be a bad fit for the company, then the company has wasted its resources, and the person who selected it was this person, okay, the interviewer. So the interviewer, just wants to be really sure that you are the right candidate. And the reason why they ask you this question is because they believe in the interview that if you can talk about yourself, if you can market and sell yourself, you can market and sell the company. If you can represent yourself, you can represent the company. If you can sell yourself, you can sell any product or service of the company. So that is the logic. That is why they ask you, tell me why you're the right candidate. So it has a kind of a salesy, kind of a selling approach to it. It also involves the art of influence, where you influence someone to like you, to subscribe to you, and to want you. Okay? Now, having said that, this question can be rephrased in many different ways. Like they can ask you, what is your USP, your unique selling proposition, or what makes you a personal brand, or what makes you stand out from the rest of the crowd, or why should I select you from the other candidates who are there, or let's assume I have 3 of the best candidates. Tell me, why should I choose not the best candidate? Or why do you think you're better than all the other candidates who have come for the interview? So this question can be rephrased in different ways, or they can even ask you, what is your strength or what is your core competency? However, the answer is more or less the same. Now, when I used to go for companies, I'll give you my example. When I used to go for companies as a consultant, as a personal branding strategist, as a business brand consultant, they would ask me, so Loy, tell me, let's put it on the table. Why do you think I should give you this contract? Or why do you think you can do a good job where others have failed? So I would give them an answer that matched my personality on something that he could see and he knew for a fact was obvious. So what I did is, whenever they would ask me like, why should I select you? Or why do you think you're the right candidate? I would give them the 3s. I always give answers in 1, 2, and 3. Good, better, best, red, yellow, green, 1, 2, 3. So I always give them past, present, future. I always give them in 3 even. I remember giving this answer because this was a technology-based company, and they were looking at someone who could bring in the element of change, and that is where personal branding was inserted, and that is where I was called. So I told him, I'll give you the 3 reasons why you should take me. Number 1 is, I'm going to convince people in your company to resign and go. Number 2 is, I will challenge them to challenge one another, including the bosses, which will rock the boat and create confusion. And number 3 is, I will literally convince people to stop working hard for the company. So when he heard this was the training director. When he heard this, he was like, but isn't this bad for the company if you convince people to resign, if you, ask them to challenge managers and challenge others, and especially if they stop working hard for the company? And I said, that is where I will tell you what do I mean by this. So it was like I created the curiosity and then I decided to explain to him. The first one is convince people to leave the company. So what I explained to him here was that, if you're really the best, if you're really truly the best in the company, you would never be happy being in a stagnant position. You'd always want to grow. You'd always want to be better. And if you're really the best in the industry, you'll not stick around in one place. You'll constantly be applying for other companies. You'll constantly be putting yourself out there, your resume, your profile. That is what makes a person better than what he possibly can be. If he is so courageous that he is ready to get out of his comfort zone and look at other challenging positions, he is a candidate who can make the company grow. And we need to identify such individuals who can make the company grow, who can take on bigger tasks, bigger responsibilities, bigger targets. And those are the kind of individuals we need to identify. That is number one. That is how a company grows, when you have people who are better than you. The second example, that is challenge the status quo or rock the boat. When you have, let's say, a weak leader and below him are, let's say, stronger guys, but they are just afraid to challenge the leader, what happens is everyone just follows rules. And a company can never grow in that manner. But if you have someone who says, let's say my manager has achieved 20, I will achieve 40 and I will show you, or I will get a bigger share of the market. Now, these are disruptors. These are people who can really show something. So why should a company follow protocol, which is unnecessary, which is not helping the company grow, instead of giving someone a chance to prove himself? So instead of putting him in the same target market, why don't you put him in another new target market? Let him prove himself. If he does it, great. Then the company has found a new leader. If he fails, well, at least he tried and did something new. So that is where you need to challenge the status quo, and that is where you need rebels. And last but not the least, the third one is stop working very hard for the company. What did I mean by that? Is I gave him the example of Stephen Covey with the example of sharpening the saw. If you focus, let's say, in the 8 hours that you work, people normally don't work 8 hours, they work 10 hours or 12 hours. Let's say, for example, you work 8 hours. And out of the 8 hours, if 1 hour you spend developing your skills that can add value to the task that you're doing, make you better, make you sharper, bring in more productivity. It is like, instead of chopping wood, where you can chop 10 pieces of wood, you sharpen your saw, and instead of using a manual saw, you get an electric saw. Instead of 10 pieces of wood, you can chop 15. So this is what I bring to the company. 3 things. I convince people to leave the company, that is to be so good that they start getting other offers, and that is where the company can identify who are the really good key players in the company, the hidden nuggets. The second one is challenge the status quo. If there's someone who has the fire to prove himself, let's give him a new challenge and let him prove himself. The company is the one who will benefit. It's like 2 people challenging each other. And the third one is where you sharpen your saw, you gain those skills, that talent necessary to add more productivity into the process. So, when you hear this, you're like, wow, okay, fine. I'm pretty curious. I'm pretty curious to know how you're going to do that. So this is what I would say as a consultant. However, let's say as an employee, now as an employee, you can't say these 3. What would I have said if I was an employee or I was applying for a job where I wanted to be an employee? I would say, now obviously, let's be honest here. Most of the companies will not take a guy who's tattooed on his face. That goes without saying. But there are companies whereby, let's say the owner of the company, it's a local company, and he's willing to take a risk. So with such people, these are the 3 things I would have said. This is provided I went through all the interview, he's comfortable with my face tattoo, and he knows I can add value. I would have said these 3 things. Number 1 is I'm a guy who draws attention, unnecessary attention to himself. That puts me under tremendous amount of pressure. And with that pressure, I am forced to perform, because otherwise I'm just another pretty face who looks, like he wants attention, but he doesn't give you anything. So when I'm getting all this attention, I need to show it with my work. So my work will speak louder than my personality. That is number 1. It takes a lot of guts to say, look at me, I'm going to do it and I'm going to show you. That's number 1, putting yourself in the spotlight. Number 2 is I take risks. This tattoo was a risk. Giving up my comfortable job was a risk. Saying goodbye to a career that was paying me average salary was a risk. I am a risk taker. And because I take these risks, I have endured, I've suffered, I've made mistakes, but I've earned greater success, much more greater success than my peers. It is only because I have the capacity to take risks. If you want to achieve greatness in this position, the person has to take risks. He has to make mistakes. He has to try new things. And only then it will add more value to the position. Otherwise, you'll just be doing what everyone else has done and nobody's going to achieve outstanding results. And the third one is you need to have the guts to stand out from the rest of the crowd. You need to be different. You need to tell, if everyone's doing this, I'm going to try in something new and I'm going to position myself as a winner. It's not the person who joins the group and, sings kumbaya, because of peer pressure. They will say, let's all achieve at a steady pace so that we don't have to compete with each other. But if a person says, I stand out from the rest of you, I'm going to compete and show all of you, that is the person you need. So for me, these three things. Number one is I draw a lot of pressure to myself, and that makes me want to really be the best. The second one is I take a lot of risks. I'm prepared to make mistakes. I'm ready to try new things. And that is the kind of person you need for this position. And the third one is I have the guts to stand out and do something new and achieve greater results for the company. So I'm not saying that you need to say the exact answers, or I'm not saying that this is the perfect answer for everyone. But in my case, if you actually see, there is that confidence, there is that guts, there is that belief in himself, that the person would say, fine, I'm willing to give you a chance. Let's see if you're all talk or you can actually do what you're saying. So this is what I suggest for you. If anyone asks you, what is your USP, or why do you stand out, or why you're better, show it in what you say. That is number one. And second one is how you say it. And if you say it with conviction, if you say it with belief, if you say it with facts, figures, and you are able to explain it with examples, I'm telling you this, you can convince anyone that you're the right candidate for the job. So I hope this short little video gives you some value, makes you understand how you can actually position and sell yourself. And I hope that you get the job. Remember, these cliche answers, these cliche questions, these normal day-to-day questions are the deciding factor, because at the end of the day, this is what brings connection. This is what connects two people, two individuals. Not the technical side, but it's the emotional side. It's not like they say, not the logical side, the emotional side. It's only when you're likable, it's only when you're trustworthy, it's only when someone feels that he can connect with you, he will give you the job. So these are my views. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't like it, thumbs down. This is me signing off for now. Take care.